Welcome to Rebel Squadron. The Empire is spreading terror across the galaxy, and we need your help to break its iron grip.
Activate briefing. Combat Recon, activated. Signal corrupted. Attempting to boost signal strength.
Alright, recruit. This is what you need to know about this squad in this fight. General Grievous, you're going to have to try to time your attacks against him, because every 7th attack, he will gain a tactical maneuvering buff, which will provide him with 25% offense and 30% turn meter per attacked ally. Now, there are a couple of ways to keep him from getting this buff, and Luke Skywalker has the ability to use the Force, which provides a buff immunity to Grievous. This will prevent him from getting this buff and, make the fight a great deal easier for you. Now, when your squad is attacking, you want to do your best to make sure that Luke has the 7th attack against Grievous, because even if it's the 7th attack, he should not activate Grievous's tactical maneuvering buff. So even if the timing is off, though, as long as that buff immunity is on him, it won't be a problem, because it will keep that from happening. So now, if Grievous stuff does get that buff, then there's a pretty good chance you're just going to have to start the phase over, because once he gets it, it's very difficult, nearly impossible to successfully complete the phase at that point. So it's not a big deal. All you have to do is back out and just start the phase over. Now, if you're lucky, your Hermit Yoda will pop his Master's Training, and once you apply this to one of his allies, they will assist in an attack. After he uses this ability 4 times, your entire squad will come in and do a respectable amount of damage. So, you want to keep that cycle going where BB-8 is doing his thing, and then that brings in Yoda and the rest of them. Wampa has Furious Foe, and you want to make sure you're hitting this as often as possible. It provides a 40% boost to his accuracy, critical chance, and offense, which is stacking throughout the entire phase. Now, the downside is that at the end of each phase, these stats do reset. So he starts off with his basic stats and then at the start of the next phase. But these phases are long enough to where, by the end, he's just cranking out an incredible amount of damage. Han, with his quick draw, he has the ability to attack twice, and his Deadeye does have the ability to stun opponents that are not raid bosses. And during the phase 1 fight, B2, you want to make sure you're taking him out as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you're going to be constantly dropping an ability block on your entire squad, which just makes for a really bad day. Now, as the fight progresses, you're going to want to make sure that you're using as many of your special abilities as possible. BB-8's Illuminated Destiny is reduced by 1 turn for each ally that has secret intel and utilizes their special ability. See, it's just a constant cycle. You want to make sure you're hitting all of those. So when his Illuminated Destiny pops, it'll give you all of your your entire squad turn meter boost and enable them to hit the target, you know, several times over within a single turn. And now let's get back into the fight. Grievous currently has buff immunity, and it's gone.
We're going to hit him with his debuff again. Oh, that one didn't catch, so that could be a problem. We shall see. Just use it on Luke. Because, oh, you know what? That works out. I see right there. Kind of backs into a corner. That could be a problem. Take out B2. And he's got 2 of his buffs. Trying to get a look at him here. What happens is when he's got that buff on there, he gets turn meter anytime any of his minions are struck. And that's... might have to start with this one over. Yeah, because Luke failed to debuff him, and once that happens, Grievous, he just goes crazy, berserk, and sometimes you can recover from it, but most of the time you just have to start over. That's what we're gonna do. Phase 1 is the trickiest phase because of his because of Grievous's ability like that. It just causes all kinds of problems. Alright, come on, Luke, do your thing. Boom, there we go. Alright, got the debuff. It's looking good. Bounce. Take out B2. Let's see. Power up the now Wampa, he's great for this raid because over the long term, he builds up an incredible amount of DPS, and he can do some crazy damage over time. See, let's slow this down a second. Boom, boom. He's sitting at about 52,000 damage at the moment. Let's get rid of that turn meter. Boom. Brilliant. That B2, see, ability blocked everybody. Be quite dangerous. Now, currently 12 turns before Grievous enrages, and that's the clock that we're trying to beat. And I've completely lost track of how many times I've hit him. Unfortunately, with Luke's ability, it's not as important. So if you miss the timing, as long as that buff deep, that buff immunity is up there, it is not a problem. One of the things I love about CLS in the lead. There are other possible tank buster squad configurations, but from what I've seen, personally, I'd say that this one's probably the most effective. And it still takes some time to get through this, but it's not that bad. I can usually do it in about 20-30 minutes if everything goes smoothly. As you can see, we're down to 30% almost. He's still got 11 turns before he enranges, so we're looking really good. That B2. That can be deadly. There, Grievous did his thing, but ability block was up. So no extra turn meter for you. Oh. We're close enough to it shouldn't be a problem. And boom, his buff is gone. We're almost there. I'm gonna save. What is that? Illuminated Destiny. We're gonna save that for the phase 2 actually, because this is only gonna take a hot second.
And Grievous is retreating. However, he's calling in the dreaded AAT. And, well, phase 1 is a bit more of a finesse fight with some RNG luck involved. Phase 2 is a bit more of a brawl, and if it goes all the way to the last round, it can be a bit of a nail-biter. Now, if you'll notice, the tank has 15 turns before enrage, and what you want to try and do is topple the tank on its odd turns, starting with 15, and then it'll be toppled for its 14th turn. It'll recover for its 13th, and you want to topple it before it takes an attack. Now, if you miss a turn, you'll probably be okay. I've had it where I've missed 1 or 2 turns and still managed to finish the fight without having to forfeit and start over. I've even gone into the enrage 2 or 3 turns and still managed to take it down without losing anybody in the squad. Now, what you want to do is you want to target the main tank for as long as possible, and once the turn meter for the main tank is getting pretty close to full, that's when you want to take out make sure all 3 turrets are down and topple the tank. At the beginning of the fight, it's going to be a little bit trickier because Wampa's, his offensive stats have been reset, so you want to be a little more vigilant about at least bringing the turrets down to where his AoE is going to be able to knock him out. after 2 or 3 topples, he should be good to go. It's where his icebreaker should take out everything in one shot, and from there it gets a lot easier. Now, the last thing about this fight, you want to watch out for the middle turret. If the RNG doesn't go your way and decides to betray you in the middle of the fight, and this turret goes off, it could end up taking out at least 1 or 2 of your squad. And if that happens, it's going to be a pretty bad day. You might have to start over, and you know that's never fun. So if push comes to shove, err on the side of caution. If there's any if you're not sure you're going to be able to get to the end of the turn before it goes off, just take it right out.
Now the goal is to try to take down at least 10% of the tank's health every time you knock him down. If you can do that, then beating the tank should not be a problem for you. Illuminated Destiny. This is where we get to just wail on him. Boom. Ooh, coming close. Boom. That Wampa, his AOE is absolutely brutal. Take out everything at once. Especially once he gets powered up. Shorter battles, he's not as effective because he doesn't have the time to be able to get his damage output increased like that with these lengthy raids. He does reset between phases. Got to keep that in mind. Each phase is long enough to where he can just crank out the damage. $112,000. Illuminated Destiny. Get a little extra time to wail on that tank. Everybody's got good as ability on him. Looking good on turn meter. Remember, you want to make sure you're using your special abilities because that will get BB-8's Illuminated Destiny to activate much faster and more often. Yeah, I don't like to, it's getting a little close on the turn meter, so I'm going to go ahead and knock him down. Looking at 72%. Let's see if we can get that down to 60. And Illuminated Destiny. There we go. Get that ready to proc again. As we chip away at this tank's heavy armor. Boom, 204,000 damage from the Wampa. Thanks to Yoda, down to 60.90%. Well over 10% damage, that one takedown. And Han Solo is just tearing up those turrets without even trying. Yeah, so there's yeah, your RG. I think that's one issue some people might have with CLS in the lead. Does give on that counterattack increase. That does make it a little more of a wild card situation. Personally, I find it useful because it does increase the damage output, overall damage output of the squad. You can make it work. It works, not a problem. And if you can get your characters geared up enough, Han, CLS, and Wampa are all Relic 5. Yeah, they do enough damage output where I can't remember the last time the boss enraged before I could take him down. Now, if the boss does enrage, it is possible to survive it for a turn or two. It's kind of a roll of the dice there if you want to, exit out of the raid and start over. But I've had it where I've gone like 3 rounds and all of my characters survived. Pump up the Wampa. And let's just take her down. Boom. Even with his AoE, he's doing 156,000 damage. He's just brutal. Slows down in a sec. Boom, boom. 184,000. Yeah, without RNG, it can fluctuate a bit. Boom, boom. 173,000. The buffs do help once you get all these buffs up. Up his ability. Let's see where he's at. Boom, boom. 200,000. Let's see if we can get him up to 300,000 in the next 30% of the tank's health. Ooh. Oh, usually he takes that out, no problem. Almost missed that turn there. Illuminated Destiny. Let's just wail on him. The tank's got 5 turns left. Down to 1/4 health. We're looking pretty good. Oh, almost 300,000 there. 288. Might just make it. Boom, boom. 291,000. That Wampa, you ain't got him. You're gonna want to get him. Ooh, 300,000. It's always nice when you break that 300,000 point. Right, let's see what we can do. 312,000 damage. That is a beautiful sight to behold. 326,000, here we go. I think that's a new record. And we're almost there. Saving the Eliminated Destiny for the next phase.
And our elite squad is taking down the tank, but uh-oh. Looks like the tank is down, but not out yet. They can't get to it. In comes a B-2 rocket trooper and a full squad of clankers. Looks like they're in for a bit of a fight yet. Now, phase 1 and phase 2, those are the toughest phases. With phase 3 and phase 4, it is possible to auto those. The last few raids that I've done, I have put it on auto. However, I'm not confident enough yet to simply set it and walk away, so I've kept a pretty close eye on it. Now, during this fight, especially at the beginning, the B2 will place a blue buff with a triangle on one of the clankers. This is a special buff for directing fire, where the clanker will use a special attack on once its turn comes up. You want to make sure you take this guy out as quickly as possible, because even at this stage, that attack has the ability to take out one of your squad, and you really don't want to start over at this point. You're already over halfway in, and yeah, so it's better to be the safe than sorry. The other major thing you want to look out for is the AAT main cannon in the background. Every once in a while, that thing will go off, and this is where all of these buffs, they're gonna save your squad's life. Because if the primary target does not have a buff, it's gonna cause major damage and most likely gonna just wipe them out. And with that said, let's get back to the fight.
Now between BB-8 and Han Solo, those buffs really do seem to boost up the Wampa's damage output. So you want to make sure you got those going as often as possible. They really do help. Illuminated Destiny. That's when you really get to bring the pain. Wampa's getting close to 200k. It's always a nice sight. And let's take out those droids. Bank is down. Yeah, from here on out, phase 3, it's a walk in the park. It just takes a few minutes. So, yeah, when you're doing this, you want to make sure you got enough time to complete the run, especially if you do end up having to reset in the first or second phase. But overall, these guys are so effective. It's really not much of a problem. Alright, Wampa, let's take out these clankers. Boom. Let's bring the pain. $230,000. Is getting up there. And personally, I like to ignore the fact that Wampa's damage will drop from 200 plus down to, 150 or something like that. Don't even pay it no mind. Oh, 258,000. That's always a pretty thing to see. Blankets, be gone. And he's almost down. I'm gonna save that Wookiee roar for Wampa roar. My bad. Save it for phase 4. Got my big, strong, furry characters mixed up there.
And our heroes have done it. They battled their way through the line of clankers and made it to the tanking in. Uh-oh, but it's been repaired, and it's coming back for more. At least it's not at full power this time, so it shouldn't be quite so dreaded this time around. Now this time it's got B2 droids flanking it for protection. So you want to make sure you take them out as quickly as possible, otherwise they're going to get those ability blocks off, and it's not going to make for a fun time. The general fight strategy is pretty much the same. Want to try and take it down on the odd turns. Yeah, if you miss 1 or 2, it should be fine. You should be able to get through it, especially with the second time around. But when you topple it this time, once the tank recovers, it's going to call in an airstrike. And once again, these massive amount of buffs are going to save your squad. Because if they don't have any buffs on them, they're going to receive some massive damage. And I've had nearly an entire squad wiped out with 1 airstrike. But with this squad, that's literally never been an issue. So you should be good. And let's get back to the recon footage as we take this metal monstrosity down for the final time.
Oh, he's our 123,000. Always a good start. Now the tank in phase 4 is quite a bit easier than the tank in phase 2. You hit it pretty hard that first time. Even with the repairs, it's just not as strong as it was. Which is good for us. Same thing, you want to try and take him down on the odd turns. Turn number 14, sitting, it's just easy target. Now if you miss one, shouldn't be a problem. I've had it where I've missed 2 of the takedowns and still managed to beat it out in the end. It's all about maximizing your damage output, and when you're able to maintain a rhythm like that, it just makes it easier to do what you need to do. $200,000. Illuminated Destiny. Turn meter was almost up on the tank, but now we get to pummel it even more. Boom. Down to 60%, we're looking great. Now when the tank comes back up and that ship's coming at you, if your characters don't have a buff on them, they will go down immediately. Which is one of the great things about this squad. With all of the buffs, it's virtually impossible for your characters to not have a buff when that gunship comes in. Boom goes the Wampa. Armor Yoda ain't messing around. He got no problem ganging up on that tank. Yeah, you did not just see his damage drop below 200,000. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. Everybody's got their buffs. Not even a thing. Illuminated Destiny. Wampa comes in. Down goes the tank. 32.51% health. 12 turns left. We are looking golden. In fact, I'm going to put it on auto. %, 11 turns. Even on auto, once the Wampa comes in, boom. Let's call it a day. And there you have it. Our elite raid has taken down the tank. Grievous doesn't look too happy. That's it, run away. Your mama was a Tosa and your daddy was a Spork. Don't ask me how that works, because I don't want to think about it. $48.3 million damage. Wampa, top damage dealer at 22 million. On coming in a fairly close second at 17.775 million. Luke bringing up the rear on that. Hermit Yoda and BB-8 coming in for their special abilities. And there you have it.
Combat Recon deactivated.